Now that we've covered the line past and the dot past with hacer, I'd like to talk about something quite important. In other words, there's something important to know. And actually, how would you say that in Spanish? There's something important to know. Hay algo importante saber. Here's what it is. In English, we can say, I did it yesterday. Or we can also say, I did it every day. Now I've put those ending words in italics. I did it yesterday, or I did it every day. Now the thing is, that is correct in English, but in Spanish, you can't do that. We have to make a distinction between the dot and the line in the past. For example, to say something like, I did it yesterday, that's a dot. It's not something continuous that was ongoing. It had a definite end. It was an event, a dot. So I did it yesterday, full stop. Now that's the dot past. So we would express that in Spanish with lo hice ayer, because hice is the dot past. I did. Lo hice ayer. Another example would be, I did it last night. Again, it's very specific. The time there last night, I did it last night, it's a dot. So we would express that with, again, the dot past in Spanish, lo hice ayer en la noche. Another example would be, I did it at 2 o'clock. So here we have something again, a specific time, an ending to it. I did it at 2 o'clock, and that's it. So again, we would use the dot past, lo hice a las dos. But now, if we want to express something like, I did it every day, this now in Spanish is implying more of a line, because it was a recurring, continuous thing. I did it every day. That somehow implies a line in the past and not a dot. So, for that reason, we would have to use the line past. Even though in English we can say, I did it at 2 o'clock, or I did it at every day. In other words, did it doesn't change. In Spanish it must. We can't express both with the same I did. Here's another example of the line past. I did it all the time. Again, it implies some kind of a line in the past. So when you get examples like this, I did it every day, I did it all the time, we need to use the line past, which is was doing it. So let's break it down a little bit more to help you understand the concept. Here we have I did it every day, which is correct in English. But in Spanish, they would express that I was doing it every day. They would use the line past because every day is implying a line in the past. And that would be lo hacía cada día, because hacía is the line past. Or in English, we could say I did it all the time. But in Spanish, you would have to say I was doing it all the time, which would be lo hacía todo el tiempo. Now, it's very important to make a distinction between I did it yesterday, which is a dot, or I did it every day, which is a line. This is what I'm trying to illustrate to you, is that in English, we're using I did. In both instances, doesn't matter if it was a dot in the past, a singular event, or if we were doing it all our lives. We still in English can say I did. I did it yesterday at 2 o'clock, or I did it all my life. Now in Spanish, you can't do that. You have to make a distinction. So I did it yesterday at 2 o'clock is a dot. It's specific. So therefore, we would have to use the dot past. But if it's a line such as I did it every day, or I did it all the time, then we would use the line past in Spanish. It's a differentiation that we don't have to make in English, but we do have to make in Spanish if we want our Spanish to sound natural. Again, it's very easy to make this mistake because it's correct English, but incorrect Spanish. The more we go through our verbs and we look into them deeply, like we have done with this one, hacer, you'll start to get more and more of a feel for it, to the point where it'll become second nature. Just trust me on that.